Hello YouTube, it's Tony. So today I will be showing you a 1 to 99 farming guide for 2018. Some of it will be updated for 2019, so I decided to include that in the title as well. I will be showing you both conventional and non-conventional methods for training farming. Here are the basics of plant farming. Now the skill is very simple, but at the same time it is a little bit complicated. I mean, all you do is just rake the patch and then plant the seeds. When the plant is grown, you can harvest the produce until it's depleted. For trees, however, you can check the health and you'll get a massive XP drop. Here is how farming works and the advanced mechanics of it. If you're a beginner, then you probably should skip this part. The crops can grow whether a player is online or offline. Every plant has multiple growth stages and their timers as well. All plants across the world, across all players, will grow based on a global timer. When the plant has been planted, it will only start growing at the next available timer. At the beginning of every growth cycle, now there is a 5-minute window. Plants will grow anywhere within that window, and it's based on the last time you logged out or logged in. Let's suppose I logged in at minute 47, right? Well, what will end up happening is, it will start growing at minute 02 when the next growth stage occurs. So here's a more practical example. Let's say I planted an herb seed. Let's suppose I planted something at 12:35, right? Assuming that it didn't log out or log in while it was growing, and using the above example where I logged in at minute 47, right? The times the herb seed will grow is 12:42, 102, 122, and finally, you can harvest them at 142. A lot of people are gonna ask me, why didn't my plants grow? I've literally waited all day. Well, the reason why they didn't grow is because if you log in or log out within that growth window, it will actually negate growth for its current stage. So essentially you have to wait another growth stage in order to advance to the next stage. In general, if you want to avoid that from happening, just do not log out in the following timers. So going by my previous example, since the growth window is only going to be at minute 02, that means I can still log in or log out at minute 03, since that growth window has already passed by anyways. For every growth cycle, there's a chance that a plant can get disease, unless it is fully grown. So what ends up happening is, the plant cannot advance the growth stage until it's fully cured. When the next growth timer arrives while it's being diseased, there's a 50% chance of the plant dying. Either way, the plants cannot grow until the disease is fully cured. So you can just use your plant cure and then it will cure the disease. Okay, moving on, we have the XP Multipliers. You can farm bonus XP by playing the Cabbage Face Punch minigame. Now, I do have a guide on this, and I will definitely leave that link in the description. There are more to list, but these ones are the most common XP multipliers in the game. Honestly, it's actually a really good idea to train farming on double XP weekend. Well, that is by checking trees. So here are the useful items and the unlocks for farming. I'll start off with watering can. Every time you fill this watering can, it will store up to 8 doses. By watering the plants, it will prevent the disease for one growth stage. Watering isn't actually needed for the plants to grow. In fact, there are some plants that can't even be watered for them to grow. Now there is also the magic watering can, which is a reward from Fairy Tale Part 3. This time you get unlimited doses of water, and yes, you can actually add this to your tool belt. All types of compost will decrease the chance of disease, as well as increase the yield for most crops. Now the most recommended choice I would say is Super Compost because honestly it's not all that expensive. You probably won't be able to afford Ultra Compost because it's actually really expensive, and the difference it offers isn't really that big compared to Super Compost. The next useful item is Magic Secateurs. This is a reward from Fairy Tale Part 1 quest. It will give you 10% more yield, and you can add this to your tool belt while still getting the full effect. The regular farmer outfit will grant you 6% more farming XP if you're wearing the full set. It is obtainable from Cabbage Face Punch. The modified farmer's head, well, there's a 2% chance of recovering a seed when you fully depleted a patch. The master farmer's outfit. You can only obtain this by having 70 farming and by completing the player-owned farms tutorial. This way you start getting fragments, and eventually, at level 20 invention and 80 farming, you can craft them into pieces, but you also need to unlock the blueprint, which will cost you 1,000 beans. The farmer's outfit has many different effects. I just find that Master Farmer's outfit isn't worth going for actively if all you care about is 99 farming. I mean, maybe for 120 or 200 mil, but those bonuses are pretty marginal anyways. There are too many bonuses to list, so I cannot fit anything on screen. I left the wiki link in the description if you guys want to check it out. The Seedicide item is another Cabbage Face Punch reward. When you're killing a monster, it will destroy the seed for you. This will then award you double the farming XP as if you were to plant them. Now there are a couple of Seedicide methods, and I will explain them a little bit later on. So then we have the farming urns. Now each of them have a crafting level requirement to create them, but don't worry about it because it's assistable however. Planting seeds and harvesting crops will then fill the urns for you. Unfortunately, the Seedicide doesn't actually fill the urns, so don't get your hopes up here. When an urn is full, you can automatically teleport them. Somewhere in your gameplay settings, you should be able to enable this. When it's teleported, it will grant you XP, so essentially it's a 20% XP boost overall. The Urn Enhancer can boost this up even further to 25%. You need to complete the Nomad quest, and then you can unlock the ability to create that. Scroll of Life. This will cost you 10,000 engineering tokens. There's a 10% chance you can recover a seed after you're clearing a dead or a fully grown patch. For tree seeds, however, it's only 5%. The Rapid Growth spell. By casting the spell on a patch, you actually get to advance one growth stage immediately. You can actually cast this to as many patches as you want, but you can only cast this spell on the same patch once per day. Finally, the last useful item is Remote Farm spell. By activating this spell, you get to trigger an interface. You can check the plant status, whether it has a disease, it's growing, or even fully grown plant. On top of that, you can also cure the disease if it already has a disease. It is a really nice utility spell when it comes to farming training. Let's talk about the useful NPCs. The first useful NPC is a Tool Leprechaun. It will store tools for you and a lot of compost buckets. You don't have to carry 28 buckets at once luckily in order to store it to him. You can just bring a huge stack of noted compost and he will store it as well. The Tool Leprechaun can automatically compost for you, but you'll have to pay him money for this. However, you gotta be careful with this because the payment that you pay him is based on the number of buckets that you're gonna compost, not the amount of money that you're gonna pay him. He will refund like 90% of it, but still, you're paying a huge price here. The last function, and surprisingly not a lot of people know this, is that you can actually use the produce on the Tool Leprechaun and he'll note it for you. There are nearby gardeners in almost every patch. You can actually pay them for protection. Paying them, however, doesn't prevent the disease. When it gets diseased, the farmer can actually cure them instantly. The things that they ask for are just pretty absurdly expensive, and not to mention that the disease chance isn't all that high anyways. I've talked about the useful items, so let's talk about the training methods. From level 1 to 25, you'll be doing quests. I would probably skip the garden quest because that quest is extremely long and tedious. From level 1 to 60, you'll be doing the allotment patches. First of all, there is a potato seed patch, which is near the Taverley Lodestone. This will never get disease, but unfortunately, it only works for potato seeds. There are a total of 8 allotment patches. When you plant seeds in an allotment patch, 3 of them will be consumed. The first patch is northeast of Canifis. Just use the Lodestone teleport, and then you're gonna go northeast. If you have the Ectophile unlocked, which requires the Ghost Ahoy quests, you can use that teleport and then keep running west. The second set of allotment patches is south of Falador. Just use the Lodestone to Draenor and then keep running southwest, then go north of the cabbage fields and you'll be there. You can otherwise use the cabbage to teleport, which, however, it does require the Lumberge task complete. The third patch we have is north of Catherby. Just use the Lodestone to Catherby and then you're gonna run northwest. The last patch we have is just northeast of Ardy. Just use the Lodestone to Ardy and then run northeast of the player-owned farms. If you have Ardy Cloak 2, you can use this as a daily teleport. Here is the level chart for all the allotments in the game. I do suggest you plant the flowers in the flower patch because they will prevent the disease. The white lily seeds, however, which require the Falador hard task complete, they will actually prevent the disease for every type of allotment seed. From level 1 to 17, you'll be shoveling the Manure Mound. It is located a little bit south of the Ardy allotment patch. So as you'll notice, it's actually very AFK, and this should take you approximately 40 minutes to get to level 17. Not the most efficient choice, but still, if you want to train farming conventionally and AFK, then this is a pretty good start for you. From level 17 to 50, you'll be harvesting honeycombs. It is located southeast of player-owned farms. Nowadays, Wyson the Gardener in Falador Park will actually sell you a lot of woad leaves, and they only cost you 25 GP each. So you're going to place 27 woad leaves in each of the 7 hives. In order to harvest them, you need what is called an insect repellent. So you can go to the Catherby lodestone and then you can enter a house nearby. You can also add this to your tool belt, so that means that you do not need to carry this with you all the time. Now you'll get 83 XP per hive. With that being said, you can get from 17 all the way to level 31 in one day just by doing this. From level 17 to 99, you will be doing player-owned farms. I do have a full player-owned farms guide, and I'll definitely leave that link in the description. So first of all, you do need to complete the player-owned farms tutorial, which only takes you around 5 minutes. The first method is self-breeding. Compared to the next method, it's slow. However, it's actually a very free way to train farming. You're gonna get 1 elder breeding pair in every single pen, and then keep breeding all these babies and finally raise them to elder stage. The other method that's extremely fast is by loading every baby animal and then growing them to elder, and finally selling them for beans. Sometimes buying and selling animals can be really hard, but luckily for you, there is an FC for this, and it's called PovTrade FC. I'll leave that Discord link in the description for you. Here is the maximum XP per week you can get for this. You can get 1.6 mil XP per week by self-breeding animals, and a whopping 4.7 million XP if you were to buy the baby animals and then raise them to elder stage. Unfortunately, the XP multipliers do not work here. However, they will fill the farming urns, so definitely bring a lot of these if you're going to check them for health. From level 30 to 99, you will be doing tree farming. This is also really amazing farming XP. So this is my equipment and inventory setup. This is mostly a high level setup. Unfortunately, I'm not going to show you a live demo here on this video because there's going to be a lot of fast forwarding, which makes everything so blurry. Don't forget to use the rapid growth spell every single time you plant the trees. There are 6 wooden tree patches, one of which requires plagues and quest. For all the teleports, here are the best teleports to get there. For wooden trees, you can do them around 2 or 3 times per day. Moving on, we have the fruit trees. 2 of the tree patches require the Plague's End quest complete, or the Morning's End part 1 for the other one. The last set of trees are the special trees. The Arc Berry patch, and not a lot of people know this, but it's actually pretty amazing. It requires 86 farming, and it takes you 2 days to grow. The Crystal tree you can harvest daily, and it requires 94 farming. You must have a Crystal Acorn first, which is untradeable however. So the Elder tree patch requires 90 farming, which will grow every 3 days. Here is the full chart for the level requirements of every tree. On average, on a daily basis, by checking trees once per day, you'll get 150k farming XP. From 94 to 99, you can try doing the mushroom clusters. It is located in the Uncharted Isles. In order to get there, it requires what are called supplies. Now, it will last you 30 minutes every patch. It is really AFK here, but unfortunately, the farming XP is just really slow here. You will get hit by a thorn once in a while, which will make you stop AFKing. If you want Master Farmer fragments, then this is the best place to get them at. The average XP per hour you can get for this is 50k to 60k. Let's talk about the Seedicide methods. I'll start with Firewatch. This requires the River of Blood quest complete. I highly recommend you have 74 farming and Soul Split because this way you can AFK. By killing Vyres, it's actually pretty decent combat XP, as well as prayer XP, and on top of that, it's pretty good profit per hour. You can average around 100k to 150k farming XP per hour from this. Now, I do have a full guide on Vyres, and I'll definitely leave that link in the description. The second Seedicide method is Turoths. Now this requires 74 farming and 55 Slayer. I highly recommend Soul Split and the Caraming perk because trust me, it helps a lot here, spread the AoE damage and heal back the damage, so this way you can keep AFKing. Pretty much just use the aggression potions and the Smoke Devil Familiar, and yeah, just stand in the middle and AFK basically. You can average around 200k to 230k XP per hour from this. I've talked about the regular training methods, so let's talk about the other methods. Warbands. Now this is a dangerous PvP activity in the wilderness. If you loot all the camps successfully, then you will get 360k XP per day. There are definitely a lot of friend chats that do this, but I personally don't do warbands, so unfortunately I cannot help you out here. Goebiebands. It is very similar to warbands, except this time it's a safe PvP activity. You'll get 48.5k XP per day at level 99. This only takes you 3 minutes to do, so yeah, it is definitely well worth doing. There's an FC that tracks which world has which skill, and that is called mini games. To get to Nemi Forest, just use the group system teleport to Mazcab, and then you're gonna keep going south and enter the forest. Only specific worlds have 9 nodes inside the Nemi Forest. There is a tracker on Reddit for this, and I will leave that link in the description. You'll get farming XP for gathering the nodes. On top of that, you'll also get Goebie reputation as well. So the very last method I'll talk about is Giant Oyster. Now this is a monthly D&D, and this requires Beneath Cursed Tides. You can gather the seaweed, and you'll get farming XP for this. I wish you good luck getting a die here, okay? So this wraps up my 1 to 99 farming guide. I know a lot of you struggle at farming, but trust me, it's actually not that hard to train. You just gotta learn how to be patient. You just gotta plant things and just wait until it finally grows and pretty much just train the rest of your skills along the way. Either way, just choose which method's right for you, and best of luck training farming. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope it helps. If I missed anything, feel free to ask. Also, be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, because I will definitely be doing more guides in the future.